and he finished on top. Now it's the vault final for the ladies. We'll also see men on the pommel horse. There's the field for the vault.
Representing Puerto Rico.
Now look at what to expect in the men's pommel horse final. Your 8-athlete field. And we begin, or continue, depending on how you look at it, with the women's vault final. 4 athletes standing out in this field. The first 4 qualifiers from Marcia Vido of Cuba, who qualified first, to the 4th qualifier, Ellie Black, who came out on top in the all-around championship a night ago. Some very, very interesting angles setting up for this one.
And we have to remember in the women's vault, 2 vaults, and they average the score.
Paula Mejias gets us started. 14.75 to qualify second. Has trained in Florida for a number of years.
Oh dear. You know, she stood at the end of the runway for a little bit of extra time, I thought. What happened there is she just didn't have her steps, her run figured out. So what happens is this vault actually counts. Had she run past the board, she would have received an extra turn.
So how do you account for something like that? Is that nerves? Is that inexperience?
Of course, nerves, or perhaps in the warm-up earlier in the day, she was feeling something wasn't right. But, you know, this is one of the apparatus that you want to make absolutely sure you're comfortable on, especially with the type of vaults these women are performing and the approach to the board. So what has to happen now is plan B. She will only have 1 vault that she'll be allowed to perform.
But the 1 vault stands as her score.
It will stand as her one and only score.
Today we will be watching both vaults from the women, and then we will be moving to a pommel horse.
She has to calm herself down now. Think about what's going on. I've felt that before. I felt my run off, as we say, and it's not a good feeling because you're adjusting and your mind's racing a mile a minute. She just needs to really focus on this one. Wise decision there. Very, very smart for both athlete and coach, and I believe her coach had something to do with that.
And what are you talking about in terms of
It
a wise
was
decision?
over anyway. There's no medal chance. It didn't work out the way she had ever planned it to work out. It was just important for her to get some confidence, to take something away from this competition. This wasn't the vault she was planning to do. It's very simple, but I think a wise decision. Yes, it doesn't matter anymore.
So just explain for those who aren't familiar what the decision really was. She opted to step out of the matted area.
No, just to do a simple vault.
Just to do a simple
vault.
Oh, okay. I thought you were saying that she opted to step out. And we get ourselves started on the Pommel horse, Lucas Bittencourt of Brazil. 14-3 in qualifying.
And as we've seen from men's pommel horse, it can be a very good event, or all kinds of things can go wrong. He has an excellent line, a good rhythm, first man out, setting the table, so to speak, for the rest of the field. And, you know, it's interesting. Someone in the background, you could hear fight, fight, fight. And just then, at that point, it was a key word recognizing perhaps how exhausted he might feel at that point in his routine.
Yeah, it's clear that somebody close to him knew where he ought to be at that stage and knew what kind of energy he needed at that point and recognized he did not have it. He has an opportunity to get back on now, pick it up, and try and finish. Obviously, there's a deduction that goes along with stopping.
And that's a full point. So close to the end of that exercise.
Is there any possibility at all, and not to put blame on anything to do with Paula Mejias, but is it unsettling to be waiting to start your event, looking over and seeing somebody have a difficult time?
Well, I honestly don't know that he was even watching. He was probably in his own zone, thinking about pommel horse and this routine and what he needed to do and visualizing. So, you know, hard to say what happened in that situation. I know we were still feeling the effects of what happened on
I did
vault.
see him standing near the apparatus looking that way, but not necessarily, as you said, studying every move in the distance. He probably does have a pre-routine.
Falling on women's vault and off a pommel horse are entirely different falls, of course, but he's a better athlete than what we just saw with that fall. It was, it's hard to be the first man up.
Back over to the vault, you see Paula Mejias there, and the score 6.112 for vault 2, no score registered. Or at least the vault average 6.112, no score registered for the first vault. So you have to vault twice, and the average comes from there. That's what goes towards determining who wins the medal.
We, of course, had the chance to watch Daniele Hippolito compete in the women's all-around. She's 30 years old. I thought she didn't quite have enough energy. I was surprised to see that extra half twist. I know she's capable of doing the 1.5. At one point I thought, okay, come on, pull a little harder, get yourself around.
Well, if there's a trick in the bag, she's got it, because she's been around, as you said, a veteran in the game, 4-time Olympian.
A little bit slow in the air, just getting that last half twist turn in. So that was one family of vault.
Here's Lucas Bittencourt of Brazil moments ago on the pommel horse. He had to regroup and finish. He did. 12.825 for the Brazilian.
As I was saying, she chose on her first vault to perform that Yurchenko-style vault. We'll see quite a few of those in today's competition. So now, vault number 2 becomes something very different. And that is mandatory in the women's event finals. They're looking for variety. The best vaulter in the world.
13.975 on vault 1.
Nicely done.
Yeah, she agrees with that. Not much movement at all on the landing.
She's really happy with
A
that
hop in her
second
step
vault.
coming down those stairs.
What a veteran this young lady is. Young, 30 years of age. My goodness, her teammate in last night's all-around competition is half her age.
Flavia Saraiva of Brazil, 16, coming up September 30th.
She did a much better vault with her second choice in that it was a better landing in some ways. She certainly thought so.
She knows it, so does the coach. You talk about a veteran. She came out and warmed up so thoroughly earlier on. Really an example to the young competitors. Francisco Junior of Brazil on the pommel horse.
Another athlete that displays a really nice look on pommel horse. This is what the judges are looking for, the traveling moves that work their way down the pommel horse while the body's turning. Look at those hand placements. You have to be so very exact. This comes with training. Lots of time.
We're hearing that fight, fight, fight again.
Yes, yes.
Right to the end, Francisco Junior gets it done, finishes the routine.
And those that specialize on their apparatus spend just a little bit more time there.
Sixth on the pommel horse at last year's Pan Am Championship. Qualified sixth here.
These are scissor type elements that he performed in the middle portion of his routine, right up to a handstand. A hit routine on men's pommel horse.
Well done by Francisco Junior. Now, Daniele Hippolito was very pleased with her score, and she should be 14-0-6-2 in the end. But right now, she's more concerned with her fellow competitor, Paula Mejias of Puerto Rico, helping her deal with some disappointment. A real class act, Daniele Hippolito. Macarena Pinto of Chile. 13-9-2-5 in the qualifying.
So, of course, she'll have two very different vaults that she's performing. And what's wonderful for Macarena is she's up on this podium in a different class of athletes. She's one of the finalists that's at the Pan American Games. Her vaults are not as difficult as some of the key players here, but does everything in her power to stand it up, perhaps go for a stuck landing. She was forced to take a step. She should be very proud of herself. This is a handspring approach, a front as we say, in a tuck position, and she adds a full turn. Having a little bit of difficulty, you can see in the landing, she didn't hold on to it long enough. Instead has to take a step back, didn't have quite enough power. She's happy though.
And yes, applying a little bit of honey along with the chalk.
Honey and chalk.
Each competitor has their own combination. As long as it's not breakfast, I'm sure it's safe.
Used to seeing that combination applied on men's parallel bars.
Macarena Pinto, third on the vault at a World Cup event in Portugal this year. And of course, they want that honey to try and get some stability when they hit the apparatus.
Her hands might be feeling a little bit sweaty, slippery. She wants to make sure there's a little extra stick, I guess.
13-8-7-5 for the first try.
So the two vaults that she performed in the team competition the very first day, and that is how she qualified into today's event finals. Her first vault was a 5.3 start value. That was the difficulty. This one that she's planning to perform just a little bit less, 5.2. As you mentioned, she snuck right in there. She was in that 8th spot.
All you need is a chance. Let's see what she can do. Pinto of Chile, vault number 2, awaiting the green light.
Sukahara with a full twist. Anytime you can stand up 2 vaults in an event finals, smile about it, it's a good day.
Nicely done, Macarena Pinto of Chile.
There's a round-off approach onto the vaulting table. She does that with a full twist in a laid-out body position. Again, it has its own start value.
And she stays away from that nasty red.
Yeah, she worked very hard on that landing.
And look at the way this group is together. Isn't it something
Wonderful.
else? They know that Paula Mejias had done very well in qualifying. She was the second top qualifier. And they know that she's got all kinds of ability, just didn't have it today.
At some point in all of their careers, this has happened. Perhaps not in competition, in a training day. They know the feeling.
Yeah. And I'm confident Paula Mejias will be better for it down the road. I know it's incredibly disappointing today. 13.950 on vault 2, 13.912, the combined score for Macarena Pinto of Chile. So she's in the second spot right now. In behind Daniele Hippolito. So it's Hippolito, Pinto, and Mejias thus far, approaching the midway mark of the women's vault final.
The scores today are incredibly important. 10 American medals are on the line, so often
We'll stay with the vault
a little bit more time. We want to make sure every
and go to Yamilet Peña of the Dominican Republic, 14.5 in qualifying. Gold in the vault at a World Cup event this year, and this is an athlete some are calling a daredevil. Just before we get to Peña, there is Francisco Junior, 14.45 for the Brazilian in the early going on the pommel horse.
14.45. On pommel horse representing Colombia.
Let's keep it on the pommel horse. And here's a man who knows what it's like to succeed internationally, Josemar Calvo of Colombia, who really battled to get himself onto the podium in the all-around competition. Finished strong there, and maybe carrying something over from that today.
Well, this is where it all went wrong for Josemar in the all-around competition. He was very disappointed with his routine on the pommel horse, so he's looking for a little redemption in the event finals here. Very different display in that handstand position as he travels around the pommel horse, but this is where he shines. Look at that body position. He's super fast. Wow, exceptional work. Oh, he's got something to prove today, doesn't he? Fight to the bitter end.
Gold in last year's Pan Am Championship, determined today after the disappointment on that apparatus yesterday. And the veteran pro shows why he continues to excel on a big stage.
The quality of his work, the speed of his work, the variety. He's that all-around athlete, and you know he's thinking, why could I not have done this routine yesterday? Because he was definitely a threat for the men's all-around gold medal.
I think he was thinking when he left yesterday, not tomorrow.
No.
Not tomorrow.
Well, not an athlete of his caliber. You can't let that happen twice.
He just knows. He knows what he's got. He knows what he can do. Well done, Josemar Calvo. We'll get you a score in a moment. Yamilet Peña waiting patiently. Now, I mentioned that she's been referred to as a daredevil. Talk about the start value and what she's trying to do.
Yeah, here it goes. Her first vault out, she has to give herself a little bit of a slap because, boy, does she have to run hard for this one. Oh, she made it in the first day of competition. You can see the disappointment.
Start value was?
7.0 is
How does
the
that
start
compare to some of
value.
the others?
It's the highest in
By
the
a long shot.
competition. Yeah, 5.8 was one of the highest, I believe, or 6.2. I can see that some of the other athletes will still perform, but this is a double front, 2.5. You know what she has to be careful about is if her feet don't hit the ground first, they can take a 0. She has to touch
And
first.
they clearly did.
She is, you mentioned daredevil, so confident. I can't tell you how many times I've watched her perform this, but sadly, she's missed them more than she's completed. This is a vault that men perform.
How wise do you feel it is to set that high of a standard. Do you think that is something she's working towards and she's willing to take a few missteps along the way, or do you think it's something that's maybe premature for her level of experience?
Well, no, she is capable of doing it. It's just, it's not always clean.
All right, Josemar Calvo, 15.025 for the Colombian. So Calvo, who qualified 14.45, much better than that today.
So the judges will be judging this based on the 7.0 start value, but where she'll take the hit, obviously, is in the execution of what she just completed. She's not happy. She is willing to take.
14.5.
Yeah. I mean, it's still a big score.
The biggest thus far. Here's the second vault for Peña of the Dominican Republic.
The picture is much bigger for this young lady. It's about the World Championships. It's about medaling at the World Championships in order to gain a berth to the 2016 Olympic Games. So, yes, this is her forte. This is what she does very well. She's powerful. She was almost born to be a vaulter. But she won't be happy. She knows that first vault needs to land on her feet. She needs to stand it up.
It's interesting to see the reaction because she knows what she's capable of. She knows the number she was targeting, and yet the score reflects that she's on top at this stage. So there's that internal push all the champions have. Next on the pommel horse, Sam McCulloch of the United States, all-around gold. Success earlier this afternoon in the form of a medal on the floor.
Next, on men's pommel horse from United States of America.
Third on the floor in the final earlier today.
And in the all-around competition, Sam, too, had a little miscue on this apparatus. He's capable of scoring in the 15 range. He just has to do everything exceptionally well. Showing some nice body positions. Looking to be right on. Here's the traveling skills judges are looking for. Fighting to the end, pushing his way up for that dismount.
Sam McCulloch of the United States using all kinds of reserves to get through that and feeling good about it. As mentioned, he didn't have much time at all to catch his breath, making his way over from the floor exercise. Josemar Calvo, the leader right now, watching intently.
Nice to see him go for it. Nice to see him not back down from this exercise. He doesn't love it, believe me, but it's necessary when you're an all-around gymnast. You must find a way to be successful on this apparatus. He's 2 for 2 in his event finals.
Yeah, there's a real look of satisfaction there from Sam McCulloch. So Yamilet Peña of the Dominican, 14 even for a second vault, 14.25 for the leader in the vault.
Our next competitor on women's vault, representing Cuba.
4 competitors have gone, 4 more remain. Here's the first vault for Marcia Vidot.
I was going to say this young lady has a chance to steal Yamilet's thunder here on vault. She had 2 very difficult vaults that she performed on day 1.
Qualified first, 14.95 coming in.
So that one is a Sukahara with a double twist. She just had to really make some quick decisions on that landing. Wasn't as well performed as the first day of competition. That's quite a big step, hop if you will.
Sam Mikulik, 14.575. Sam Mikulik moves into the second spot behind Calvo with that score. Now, how about that first vault from Marcia Vidot of Cuba?
So her start value was a 6.0 with her first vault. The second one is a little bit harder. 6.2 is the range, and that's the one she's planning to perform. So she has a little bit of a chance here.
14.575 on vault 1 for Vidot.
Beautiful vault.
Enough? Think she can move into that top spot?
As I said, the vault's worth 6.2. If she does it perfectly, 16.2, which is not going to happen because of that big step. But I believe when you execute 2 vaults and you land them, they're clean, they're successful. This should be one of the ladies up on that award stand.
Marcia Vidot, one of the Cuban athletes that we've had a chance to enjoy at these Pan Am Games. Great to see them participating. Don't always get a chance to see them on the international stage. Right now, let's get over to the Pommel horse and catch up with things there where it's heating up. This is the 5th competitor in the final, Marvin Kimball of the United States, qualified 2nd.
He has a real chance of winning this event too. Just needs to keep his cool and go through the exercise like he's done so many times before. There's great competition amongst these men on this apparatus. Some with very similar styles, similar gymnastics. It comes down to execution sometimes. Good speed, good traveling skills. Oh, he's on.
Marvin Kimball's got it going today.
He might find himself on top.
Marvin Kimball of the United States, very, very pleased.
You know, I think sometimes the men, they just need to let it go.
Marvin let it go there.
Wow, a great performance. He was psyched. Beautiful body position, stretched, laid body out on this pommel horse. And look at the work here. His body turning, his hands moving right up to the handstand.
Silver at the Pan Am Championship last year. A golden celebration this year.
Typically, you should acknowledge the judges, and then you can do whatever you need to do. But
I think he acknowledged that internal judge first. All right, Marcia Vidot, vault number 2, 14.9, 14.737 for the new leader on the vault for the ladies.
Well deserved.
Well deserved. Look at the big difference in the second vaults between Vidot and Peña. So a big, big lead now opening up for Marcia Vidot. Here's the first of 2 Canadians in this final, Megan Chant.
They love the stick, don't they?
Some Velcro feet on that one.
But there have been women in this competition that have done far more difficult vaults. But what Megan did is just capitalized on what she could do. It's a Sukahara, full twist, laid out position, and she has done this vault so many times. She finds her feet very cat-like. She knew exactly where she was. There's the Canadian team coach, Laurie Henderson. Has been a busy lady.
All right, what do we get from Marvin Kimball today? 15.025 for Marvin Kimball, and he's into the top spot. Very good work from Kimball there. And as you get a look at the scores,
I think that might be a tie.
Calvo Moreno, 15.025.
Yeah,
Kimball, 15.025. Wow. So there's a 1 beside both of their names. Megan Chant scores 14.325 on vault 1. An opportunity here with vault 2 to cement a solid showing.
Yeah, a chance to just cap off a great Pan American Games.
Just like that. 14.15 in qualifying for Megan Chant. She'll be better than that today.
That completes 2 strong vaults for Megan.
Front handspring in a front laid out position. She adds a little half twist, a little bit more difficulty on that landing. But overall, 2 vaults, lands on her feet, very happy with her performance.
Very hard to propel themselves onto the table and then again up off the course to gain as much
Qualified 5th.
possibly can.
We'll see where she ends up.
On men's pommel horse, representing Colombia,
Jorge Geraldo is next on the pommel horse. Qualified in the 4th position. Silver pommel horse at the last Pan American Games.
Colombians have a team of very strong men on this apparatus, due in part to their excellent execution and body line. His difficulty, however, not as difficult as his teammates, Josimar Calvo. But you wouldn't know it. Look how well he is traveling.
That's Jorge Geraldo of Colombia.
What a show this audience is getting today. It's fantastic.
It's like there's a real connection between the competitors and the audience. They're feeding off each other.
I've spoken to so many of the gymnasts, both men and women, and they have absolutely loved the facilities. They have enjoyed the audience. I think the intimate setting has been fantastic for this sport. Everyone feels very close to the competition.
Well, it's a great venue. 7,200 the capacity at Toronto Coliseum. It's got to be close to that here today. And they're right on top of the action.
here's the toughest part when fatigue is setting in, the all-important
Great celebration.
Great smile from Jorge Geraldo of Colombia. Here's Megan Chant. Megan Chant 13.8 on the second vault. Ends at 14.062, so just slightly shy of what she did in qualifying.
She did everything that she could possibly do. Great work from Megan Chant.
Currently sitting in the 3rd position. Francesca Santi of Chile, set to take the stage next.
Yurchenko style vault with a double twist. You know,
She was fine, and then she moved.
She moved too quickly.
Yeah.
She had trouble with the same situation in the team competition. She had a penalty of 0.3, I believe. There's that Yurchenko double twist, but she just didn't allow herself to sink into the landing. Just take a second.
Finish it, right?
And that's the experience. That's where she lacks a little bit of the experience of knowing what to do at these higher level gymnastic events. Her coach is going to remind her after this.
May help her on her second vault.
It just meant had she taken a moment, she would see a higher execution.
She had a 3rd place finish at an international meet earlier this year, held in Brazil. Here's a score for Jorge Geraldo, 14.775. That places him in 3rd. So Geraldo in the 3rd spot with 2 competitors to go on the pommel horse. Francesca Santi, 14.5 to get things started.
So she's going to focus a little bit more on that landing for the second vault. It's not as difficult. The first one was a 5.8. The second vault, a 5.0. That's the plan.
See if she can give her number a boost.
Much happier with that one, but again, it's not as difficult as her first attempt. Because it wasn't as difficult, a little easier for her to land. So she has the front handspring entry. Tries to stretch out that body, but does pike her body. And she adds a half twist. Her chest landed a little bit low. Lots of little areas for her to improve on, but overall she should be very pleased with her 2 attempts in the event finals.
Francesca Santi waiting to see what she is awarded for her work today. Meanwhile, over on the pommel horse, second last competitor, Daniel Corral of Mexico. He may be second last in terms of the order here, but he was first in the qualifying, 15.2.
Well, a real opportunity for a gold medal performance. I think what I enjoyed so much on day 1 of his performance was his unbelievable form. And it's not going to happen. Just touched one of those pommels there. Stopped his rhythm just a little bit. Well, we'll see how severe of a deduction that's going to be from the judges. This is beautiful. Some of the finest work I've seen, and unfortunate right off the top there. My goodness.
Daniel Corral of Mexico trying to surpass the work of Josemar Calvo and Marvin Kimball. Those 2 competitors tied at the top, 15.025.
He knows. He just brushed that leg. Not sure if we'll get a chance. There you can see his legs, I think his thighs hitting that one pommel. It just slowed him down just a little bit. You could see the change in his momentum. It still looked very easy.
Right to the end for Daniel Corral, the pommel horse champion at the Pan Am Games in Guadalajara. Francesca Santi of Chile, 13.962 for Francesca Santi, so she stands 5th. The all-around gold medalist, seeing if she can add to her medal haul in the vault final.
Do you remember the other night in the women's all-around how she stuck that vault cold? Very powerful vaulter, needed just a little bit more to stop herself from running backwards.
A little bit more
power. Push off the horse. I am sure she's exhausted.
Oh, how couldn't she be?
As are many of these athletes, but they are, I think they're doing an amazing job. They're not holding back. They're giving it everything they have. It's been very impressive to see the level of performance here.
Well, they're competitors, right? Every time they come out, they want to put it on the line. Daniel Corral, 14.825. That puts him in the 3rd position. So Corral posting a good score. How about Ellie Black?
Well, that first vault was valued out of a 5.5. And if she sticks with her plan of what she performed in the first day of competition, it's an equal starting value.
13.925 on the first one. 14.737 for the leader, Marcia Vidot of Cuba.
Of course, we'll be seeing Ellie in a number of other event finals where she shines. Balance beam, floor exercise.
Ellie's the last competitor on the vault. The 3rd spot, if you're curious, 14.062. It belongs to Daniele Hippolito of Brazil. awaiting the green light and a chance at a medal.
Green light. Beautifully done. Beautifully done.
Ellie Black of Canada.
What an effort.
Success with the Canadian team. Success in the all-around. And maybe a spot on the podium today again.
She is the true leader of the Canadian women's team. Just remarkable. Just how mature and unbelievable her performance have been since the 2012 Olympic Games in London. You know, I still shake my head thinking that was her first outing, and how she went kind of in reverse order and then said, sure, I'll try a Commonwealth Games and fit in a few World Championships.
Lots of smiles. What will it be in the end for the women's vault? Ellie Black awaiting a score. What will the final order be? Who will be part of that victory ceremony? 14.25 for the second one, 14.087 for Ellie Black of Canada. That puts her in the third position, and it means Marcia Vidot of Cuba is the gold medalist, Yamilet Pena of the Dominican Republic in the silver position. And Daniele Hippolito just bumped down into that fourth spot. But showing her quality and character just in the way she carried herself throughout the day today. Out comes the flag. For those getting set to celebrate medals.
The scores are unofficial at this particular point.
Scores are listed as unofficial until being confirmed, but we have some numbers to show you, and yes, once those numbers are confirmed, Marcia Vidot of Cuba is your gold medalist in the women's vault. Terrific performance. She came into the action today, the top seed, after qualifying with a 14.95.
And she never looked back, did she? She had two very solid vaults, and for Ellie Black, that second vault made all the difference for her. It was the landing. Excellent job from these vaulting finalists.
14.25 in the second go-round for Black, bumped her up to that slight margin ahead of Daniele Hippolito of Brazil, and she'll walk out with a bronze medal. Last competitor on the Pommel horse is a Canadian, René Cournoyer. And he's going to get a chance to close out our coverage of this opening phase. You saw the men's floor, women's vault. Man on the Pommel horse. We'll have some medals handed out, and then a couple of more event finals for you.
And another opportunity for this young man to perform on this stage and to get that valuable experience before heading to the World Championships. He's one of the athletes that the Canadian team is hoping will be on that men's team, and this is one of the reasons why. They need some pommel horse specialists, and he fits that spot. We're going to see those pearly whites.
René Cournoyer. He may not be on the podium today, but he certainly will go away with a lot of valuable experience and a whole bunch of new fans.
He's had such a great time here, and he's done his job for the most part. You know, he walked into this competition totally green. He really didn't know what to expect, but he was so wide-eyed and willing to take it all in and willing to figure it out and absorb as much information gymnastically as he could possibly take away with him.
Really bodes well for the future for René Cournoyer. Just has the right attitude. 13.875 for Cournoyer of Canada. So your champion on the pommel horse. Well, how about co-champions? A very interesting afternoon And it turns out there's a match at the top. Double gold awarded. Josemar Calvo and Marvin Kimball walk away with gold medals. Daniel Corral will round out the podium. Very interesting. You don't always, or you don't often see ties. In this case, you've got it right at the very top. Great work today. There's one of the champions, Marvin Kimball, and we anticipated coming in that he'd have a shot at it. He's just 19 years old, but a 15:05 in qualifying made us take notice of Marvin Kimball. Josemar Calvo in the background. So we're moments away from victory ceremonies for the first 3 event finals. We'll have that for you right around the corner.